Welcome to Reach the World ASAP. My name is Pastor Scott Griswold, the Associate Director for ASAP Ministries. I have with me today my friend Clifmond Shamaradine, and he is coming all the way from Trinidad, where he is reaching out to friends, neighbors who come from a Hindu background. I am excited because I know that all around us, Clifmond, are now people from India and other places where they come from that Hindu background. And many times we as Christians, we don't know what to say, how to share, how to be a good friend. So I would love to have you just share in this brief time that we have something of your own experience and story that would be helpful to us.
Thank you, Pastor Scott. We have moved to Trinidad 3 years ago from Barron Springs.
Wow, what a change.
I'm telling you, very big change. When we got there, we were, and still is, live in a community surrounded by Hindus. And, you hear all kinds of stories about Hindus. They are difficult to talk to. They eat strange food. They have different way of life and even worship. And so having that experience that you hear about makes you a little nervous. But I could tell you that once you spend a little time, you notice things that you didn't notice before. And I could tell you some stories that we have experienced. We started a center in the community, and we call the center the Life Hope Center.
The Life Hope Center. That sounds nice.
And the first thing when the center was opened, people assumed that this was a church.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to tell many of the Hindus it's not a church. It's a center for the community, for you.
Huh.
And so they became very surprised and interested. Well, you're a pastor. Why would you have a center for us?
Huh.
And so they were very curious, and so they would come and ask, so what do you do here? And so, well, we offer things that the community needs. We have computer classes, we have counseling, we have after-school program, and many other things. And so they would say, well, can I sign up? Of course you can. And so when people started, our friends from the community of Hindu background would sign up, they would come. And I remember the first class that we had, a computer class,
Mm-hmm.
and we had about 15, 20 people showed up the first day.
Wow.
And they came, and a lot of them were curious because they didn't know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
And so they would come, and I remember at the end of the class, a lady was super excited. She's Hindu. And she came and she said, I saw the flyer in the store and I just came to check it out. Well, when she left that day, she went back to the temple and she told her friends, and she was telling them about this computer class. The people there are very friendly, they treat me well. I learned so much. And I always wanted to learn how to use the iPad and other devices to talk to my grandchildren. And while she was telling her friends about it, there was others around at the temple was hearing about this computer class.
Mm-hmm.
So they were curious, so they got the information and they came with the same curiosity. They want to find out what's so special about this computer class. And so I remember this lady, her name was Savitri. She came, but she brought her husband too, who was a very, he always had a person who is very suspicious about new things.
Yes.
And so when he came with the same intention. This can't be true. I want to find out more about this class. But at the end of the class, he was sold. He came up to me and he said, I was very suspicious, but I came to check it out because my wife convinced me to come.
Suspicious because it was from Christians in a place
That's
that
right.
they had before assumed was a church.
Yes, that's correct.
But they saw you genuinely caring about a need they had and being kind as you did it.
Perfect. That's exactly
Wow.
what happens. And they stated it to the entire class. They stayed for it and they wanted to come back and so forth. So that's one of the experiences that I have. And, from that day onwards, the news was spread about, this pastor who has a center and he cares about people in the community. He cares about us. And because of that, we had many people that came to ask for special prayers. And when they come to the center for computer class, by the time they leave, they said, can I come for counseling? Can I, can I even volunteer? Can I be part of the center? I
Wow.
want to contribute to what's happening here.
And they want prayers from a Christian.
That's right. That's right.
Okay? Even though there are many gods in Hinduism, they want your prayers as well.
Yeah, because they see the genuineness. They see that this is making a difference in their lives. Another family also had the same, suspicious at first. And so the wife came, and then she got her husband to come, and he came with the same agenda to check it out. And I remember clearly that he was also sold, and he used to skip work to come to the computer class. He would leave work early so he could attend. He was never late. And after a little while, he said, Pastor, can I see you another day? And I said, of course. So we met, and we sat down and listened to their story. Very, very difficult story. They were going through very hardship. This Hindu family was experiencing some difficult times, and they're smiling, happy, but no one knows what was happening behind closed doors.
Like most of the people we pass, they look great, but inside, once you get to know them, there's hurt and pain that needs care.
That's right, and we spent many weeks after that working through different difficulties in their lives, and we became very, very close. I know one day he told me, he said, Pastor, you have no idea how much my life has changed. And he said in the same building that we have now, that is, I'm here for help, getting help with different challenges I have in my life. About 20 years ago, I almost lost my life in the same building.
Really?
And he went on to tell me this story. This building was a bar.
Ah.
And so from a bar, it became a Life Hope Center.
Wow.
And he started to share the story, and he said, today I am here getting help from God. I could have died right here from a fight, and I got cut, and bleed. And I don't know how I survived, but now I know why. Is that I'm here because God really cares about me and my
That's
family.
for sure. Oh, that's terrific.
That story really, really touched me, because we don't know who we're going to meet and when we're going to meet them and how they will seek help from God.
Excellent. So through caring about people, meeting a real need, praying for them as you can, sharing with them what God can do for them, you are seeing people from Hindu background lives changed.
Certainly.
That's beautiful.
We're talking about connections, is that they have the same amount of fear that we have, should we talk to them? And they have the same thing. They're like, should we say hi? Because we just live in a very complex society where there's so many barriers to communicate with people, to say hi, to say hello, to trust people. And for many Hindus, I find that they have that fear. Should I talk to a Christian? Can I really trust them with my family? And so those are the things I found. And once we have established ourselves in a community where people that cares about, and many Hindus would come and open up. I can go on and tell you stories after stories about how God has put us there, because we were willing to go where they are and won the trust.
I think that's key. As we think about this, so how do we apply this to us who aren't in Trinidad or India, but we're here where we do cross paths with people from Southern Asia. What we need to know is just what you've said. We must take that step to be friendly with those we might not normally be friendly with, and that will open the door. I read a statistic that 75% of people from Asian religion backgrounds in North America do not have a personal friend who is a Christian. And that's a huge number. So it's up to us to go beyond that. I thank you so much for sharing with us today your experience, your story, just a tiny piece of that. And I want those who are listening to know that at our website, reachtheworldnextdoor.com, is a link to your site and to the training materials you and others have developed that will help people who want to know more how to reach out and be friendly and share God more with people from a Hindu background, that they can learn and get the resources there. So Thank you again. Appreciate it so much. And I just want to encourage you to go beyond those normal, natural feelings when people are different from us, that we don't know what we'd say, and take the risk. God will give you the words. He will help you to know just what to say. Let's keep our eyes wide open for people from Hindu backgrounds so that we can love them with God's love. Together, let's reach the world ASAP.